Hey guys, welcome to day 6 of speed. Today we are going to be finding the average speed of a journey that is divided into 2 parts. Okay, so on the top of your notes, start by drawing and labeling the speed triangle, fill in the distance, speed, and time formula. All right, hopefully you do something like that. And I think by now you are well versed in what these formulas are, but distance equals speed times time. Time is distance over speed, and speed equals distance over time. Okay, you're going to fill in the blanks on your notes there as well from this statement. When a journey is divided into 2 parts, to find the average speed of the whole journey, find the total distance traveled and the total time taken. Okay, so here's what I mean. Let me show you through this problem. Josiah traveled on a freeway for 2 hours at 80 kilometers per hour. He traveled for another 3 hours at 70 kilometers per hour. Find his average speed for the whole trip. Okay, so in order to find average speed, we need the total distance and the total time. So just thinking through this problem a little bit, we are going to need to find the distance for this segment and for this segment. Okay, we can't just add those 2 speeds up and divide them by 2. That's not going to work right. So let's start by labeling our word problem. Okay, so he traveled on a freeway for 2 hours. That's my time 1. At 80 kilometers per hour, that's my speed 1. Traveled for another 3 hours, that's my time 2. At 70 kilometers per hour, that's my, whoops, I almost wrote time there. That's my speed 2. And then over here, let's just write something to keep track of all this. D2, time 2, and speed 2. So we don't know our distances yet, do we? But we know our time and speed. So our time 1 is 2 hours, and our speed 1 is 80 kilometers per hour. Our time 2 is 3 hours, and our speed 2 is 70 kilometers per hour. Okay, now we can go back and do some work. So let's find our distance 1 first. Our distance 1 equals speed 1 times time 1. So distance 1 is going to be 80 kilometers per hour times 2 hours. So our distance 1 equals 160 kilometers. Okay, now we can find distance 2. Distance 2 equals speed 2 times time 2. Whoops. Distance 2 equals, let's see, here's my speed 2 over here. Isn't it nice that we have all this written down and organized so we can just go right to them? So 70 kilometers per hour times 3 hours. And if I multiply 70 times 3, I'm going to get 210. So distance 2 equals 210 kilometers. Okay, so now we know how far this whole thing is. Our total distance is distance 1 plus distance 2. So distance total is going to equal 160 kilometers plus 210 kilometers, which equals 370 kilometers. Okay, so let's stop there for a second. This whole thing is 370 kilometers. And we do know our total time, although we haven't done it yet. We had 2 hours on this leg and 3 hours on that leg. So our total time is going to be 5 hours. Okay, awesome. Let's go to the next slide and let's figure out what our average speed is. If you don't have this copied down, go ahead and pause the video and make sure that you have all this copied onto your notes, please. Okay, now that we know our total distance and our total time, we can find our average speed. S subscript A stands for average speed, so it's going to be d total over time total, which is 370 kilometers over 5 hours. And let's see what that is over here. So we'll divide 370 by 5. And we get 74. So our average speed for this trip was 74 kilometers per hour, and that is our answer. So you can see why that is different than just adding the two speeds up and dividing them by 2. All right, let's try another one, and then you guys will do one on your own. Okay, so this says that Brian drove from town P to town Q. He traveled the first 36 kilometers at an average speed of 54 kilometers per hour. He traveled the remaining 96 kilometers at an average speed of 72 kilometers per hour. Find his average speed for the whole trip. Okay, so this time it looks like we have distances, but we're missing the times that he spent traveling each of these two segments. Okay, so let's do some labeling. 36 kilometers is our D1, 54 kilometers per hour is our speed 1, 96 kilometers is our D2, and 72 kilometers per hour is our speed 2. Now let's go over here and let's make our chart. D1, S1, T1. Our D1 is 36 kilometers. Our speed 1 is 54 kilometers per hour. And we don't know our time yet, so we can't fill that out quite yet. But since we have the 2 out of 3 variables, we can easily find it, but we'll do that in a second. And then our D2 is 96 kilometers. Our speed 2 is 72 kilometers per hour. And our time 2, we're not quite sure. Okay, so let's find time 1 and time 2 so that we can find a total time and then find an average speed. So let's see. Time 1 is going to equal distance 1 over speed 1. Time 1 is 36 kilometers over 54 kilometers per hour. And my time 1, I'm just going to reduce that. I can divide both of these by, let's try dividing them by 9 first. Let's see, 36 divided by 9 is going to be 4, 54 divided by 9 is going to be 6. Oh, look at that, I can reduce it again. Let's reduce by 2. So let's divide 4 by 2 and we'll get 2. We'll divide 6 by 2 and we'll get 3. So 2/3 of an hour. And I'm going to leave it like that. That's just fine. So over here, I'll fill that in. And that was 2/3 of an hour. Okay, let's find the time 2 now. So that's going to be distance 2 over speed 2. So time 2 is going to be, let's see, that was 96 kilometers over 72 kilometers per hour. So time 2, let's divide both of those by 24. So 96 divided by 24 is going to be 4. 72 divided by 24 is going to be 3. And we'll make that into a mixed number, so 1 1/3 hours. Okay, cool. Now we know how far Brian went and how long he drove for. So to find our total distance, we're just going to add 96 plus 36. So our total distance is going to be, let's see, 6 plus 6 is 12, and 9 plus 3 is 12, plus 1 is 3, so 132 kilometers. And our total time is going to be 2/3 of an hour plus 1/3 of an hour, which is going to be 2 hours. Okay, now we are all set to find the average speed. So the average speed is going to be the total distance over the total time, which we found on the last slide. So the total distance is 132 kilometers over 2 hours. So the average speed will be 66 kilometers per hour. And let's just make sure I'm right here. So 132 divided by 2. 2 goes into 13 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. Bring down that 2. Oh, looks like I was right. Okay, awesome. Okay, why don't you guys go ahead and try to do number 5 on your own, and then come back and check your work. So go ahead and pause the video. All right, Joe walked at an average speed of 6 kilometers per hour for 3 kilometers. Then he walked at an average speed of 4 kilometers per hour for another 6 kilometers. Find his average speed for the whole journey. Well, hopefully you found the distance for the first segment and then the second segment, and then totaled that, and then found the total time. So I hope that you went ahead and labeled your word problem and made your little chart with D1 and T1 and S1 and D2 and T2 and S2. Let's label that in our word problem here. Okay, so 6 kilometers per hour, that's going to be speed 1 for 3 kilometers. That's our D1. Then he walked at an average speed of 4 kilometers per hour. That's our speed 2 for another 6 kilometers. That's our D2. So it looks like we have to find 2 times, okay? So time 1 is D1 over S1. Time 1 is going to be 3 kilometers over 6 kilometers per hour. And we'll just reduce that. And time 1 equals 1/2 an hour. Okay, now we'll find time 2, which is D2 over S2. So time 2 is 6 kilometers over 4 kilometers per hour. And if we reduce that, we divide both of these by 2. Let me just add this step in here. We're going to get 3 kilometers over 2 kilometers per hour. And we're going to change that into a mixed number and get 1.5 hours. Okay, so now we know how long Joe walked for. He walked for 2 hours, and his total distance was 9 kilometers. We are all set to find his average speed. Okay, so let's see. Our total distance, that we already said, is 9 kilometers. And our total time is 2 hours. And so our speed is going to be distance over time. So 9 divided by 2. And our speed is 4.5 kilometers per hour. Okay, go ahead and try the next one. Pause the video, then come back and check your work. I'm not going to really run through the next one, but I'll display the answer for you so you'll know if you're right. And then we'll take a look at number 7 together. Okay. All right, just go ahead and check through the work as it comes up. You should hopefully you solved this in fractions. It would have been a lot harder to solve it with decimals.